Good afternoon, architects, the members of Indian Institute of Architects Coaching Center, and the other professionals have taken their valuable time off to be a part of the session today. I am Vedika Vinod. It is with immense honor, happiness, and gratitude I accept this opportunity to be a moderator for this special session here today. This webinar series is launched to initiate discussions on common concerns of every architectural practice. On behalf of IIA Coaching Center, I would like to thank our illustrious speaker of the day, Mr. P.Z. Thomas, an expert on CRZ regulations, for taking time out of his busy schedule to address the fraternity. Before we begin with the presentation, I would like to request all the attendees to post your questions or queries in the chat box. Next, I would like to welcome the Secretary of IIA Coaching, Architect Joseph Chandy, sir, to introduce our speaker for today. So please.
Thank you, Vedika. Good evening all. On behalf of IIA Coaching Center, we welcome all of you to this webinar. Today, we have with us Mr. Thomas. He is the Managing Director, Environmental Engineers and Consultants Private Limited, New Delhi. And we thank Architect K.C. George, sir, for putting us through to him. Mr. Thomas did his civil engineering from CET and passed out in 1986 as the best outgoing student. He has many awards and recognitions to his credit and has worked in the environmental field for the past 30 years. He is an expert on the coastal regulation zone rules and is now working on awareness about the pitfalls of the draft CRS rule that is going to be implemented. So we welcome you to this webinar and invite you to share your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Architect Joseph Chandy. Good evening to you all. And I, first of all, express my sincere gratitude to the Indian Institute of Architects Kochi chapter and Architect Vijay, then Architect Ramachandran, then of course Architect Joseph Chandy. And I contacted Architect K.C. George sir because this thing was going on. So I knew only few people. So then he only channelized the whole thing. A special thanks to Architect K.C. George also. See, before going into further, coming into the straight into the topic, just to take you a glimpse of the the CRZ regulation in the country, and just a flashback. Started from the 1991 CRZ notification. The journey starts from there, and then journey we have completed 30 years up to 2021. In between, the first one, CRZ notification 1991 came into existence. Then the 2011 notification came into existence, superseding the 1991 notification. And then the 2019 notification, which superseded the 2011 notification. Now, CRZ notification is for the pan-India basis, that is 9 coastal states, from Gujarat to Kerala, west coast, Tamil Nadu to West Bengal, east coast, then Andaman, Lakshadweep, Pondicherry, about 4 or 5 UTs, Union Territories. So it is a kind of a general guideline for the complete coastal states as well as for the UTs. Now, to bring it tailor-made to the particular state's requirements and to implement the provisions in the CRZ notification, അതിനുവേണ്ടിയാണ് this coastal zone management plan. For every notification, the implementing tool for the notification is the plan. Because you all are architects, it is easy to understand what is the difference between the rules in a KMBR and then what is the meaning of a site plan or a layout plan. When you implement the setback distances for a building with this front setback, rear setback, so based on that only you implement the plan. or the thought of a person, requirement of an individual. So similarly, CRZ notification only says these are the CRZ classifications and these are the setback or the no development zone or the regulation zone, etc., etc. So this 1991 notification came, the implementing tool for the same, which came into existence in 1996. But that 1996 document was a very poorly drafted plan, and we all are victims of that plan from 1996 to 2019, 23 years that we suffered due to that defectful, errorful, that is full of error, full of defects. That was the plan which, went to the casualty up to that Maradu episode and all, because that plan is absurd, totally absurd. That is, government also is now realizing. Now, so that was the implementing plan for the 1991 notification. That is the 96 plan. That is no more now. It is history now. Then 2011 notification came with some changes from the 1991 notification that I will briefly elaborate. The implementing tool for the 2011 notification, which came after 8 years, that is in 28th February 2019. After 8 years, the implementing tool for the 2011 notification came. That is far, far better plan or map compared to the 1996 Coastal Zone Management Plan. Hope, Mr. Joseph Chandi, I am audible, no? It is audible
Yes,
to
sir.
all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So then the 2019 plan, which architects, of course, the local bodies, the municipality or the panchayat can easily identify where is the, with the survey numbers given, village name given, boundary of the local body given, sensitive features with the color coding given, and the CRZ regulation zones, different zones, it is clearly given. So all these things in a much, easy to, as a kind of a people-friendly document came only in 2019. So till that time, that the old one continued. Now, 2019 notification, CRZ notification 2019. Don't get mixed up with the notification and the plan. Plan is the other side of the coin. First notification has to come, then the implementing tool is the other side of the same coin. So 2011 notification, the other side is the CZMP, Coastal Zone Management Plan, which came only in 2019. Now the 2019 notification, the other side is to be filled. That is the Coastal Zone Management Plan for the 2019 notification. The pre-draft, I don't call it as a draft, the pre-draft of that Coastal Zone Management Plan, which is in circulation now, which came into many of you that, kind of seeking opinion from the local bodies, tourism department, etc., etc. So that process is going on. And thereafter, a formal draft will be published for the consultation or the stakeholders' opinion, objection, etc., etc. So thereafter, a month after the publication of the draft, the public hearing will be conducted at the office of collectorate. Whoever is having objection, they can represent, and then some of the amendments or suggestions may be incorporated. Some of them they may ignore, and then the final Coastal Zone Management Plan will come into effect for the 2019 notification. So 2019 notification, the other side, as I told you, is not yet filled up or not yet in existence. So the notification of 2019 says, till the time the Coastal Zone Management Plan under this notification comes into effect, the old plan, that is the CZMP under the 2011 notification, will continue. So the prevailing approved plan is the 2011 notification plan, which is approved only in 2019, and that is in existence now. This is the background. Now, from the 1991 to 2021, briefly I told you the journey of 30 years, notification and the plan. Now, as some of the queries already shared by architect Joseph Chandy to address, so along with that, instead of keeping it aside, so I will gel it with my presentation. That is the kind of, what is the CRZ classification? See, CRZ notification is primarily meant for coastal protection and the coastal aquatic life and related kind of environment. This is the objective of the CRZ notification. Now, of course, sea coast along the sea is involved. That is no doubt. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you may call, we have got lot of inland water bodies, the so-called backwater, rivers, then small streams, നമ്മുടെ ചെറിയ തോടുകളും കായലുകളും നദികളും എല്ലാം അതെല്ലാം ഇൻലൻഡ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡീസ്. So the notification says, CRZ notification says, for the inland water bodies, the determining factor is the salinity. If the salinity at a particular point during the driest period of the year, preferably in the month of February, March, that if the salinity exceeds 5 ppt or 5000 ppm, then that area around that point will be under CRZ regulations. So that is for the inland water bodies. Now comes to the CRZ classification, because you should know what are the water bodies which comes under the CRZ regulations. Then only you will understand the CRZ classifications. So I told you we have got about 600 kilometers of north to south. We have the sea coast from Manjeshwaram to Parashala. Then we have got lot of water bodies, inland water bodies, which is connected to the sea and which has so-called salinity level above this threshold level of 5 ppt. So these are the total CRZ regulated system which is in coming under the CRZ law. Now under the CRZ regulations, there are about 3-4 classifications. In the architect point of view, you understand only, or you only need to comprehend only CRZ 1, CRZ 2 and CRZ 3 only. Don't go into CRZ 4 and all, because the rule itself is so much confusing. So don't try to learn more. So 1, 2, 3 enough for the architect. Now what is CRZ 1? CRZ 1 has got 2 subdivisions, CRZ 1A, CRZ 1B. Then what is in CRZ 1A? CRZ 1A has got certain ecologically sensitive features, that is mangroves, kandal chedigal evidengilum undengil, that is an ecologically sensitive feature. Then sand dunes. Then we have the archaeological and heritage sites. Then we have turtle nesting grounds. So about 11 features are there. So primarily for Kerala, we don't have much turtle nesting grounds or other kind. We have primarily ecologically sensitive feature as far as Kerala is concerned. It is mangroves, then archaeological and heritage sites like Mattancheri, Fort Kochi, that buildings and all. Then these are the primary things which we only focus. For the mangroves, the requirement is, if the mangrove growth in an area that is under CRZ 1A. So CRZ 1 whether it is A or B, the land falling within CRZ, that is the geographical area falling within that CRZ 1A, it is a totally no development zone. You cannot construct, that is the architectural point of view. That is what you all must learn. If there is an ecologically sensitive feature like mangrove, like sand dunes, like, around a kind of an archaeological or a heritage site. Now, for the mangroves, apart from the area where the mangrove is situated, say if there is in an area, it is situated in half acre of land. Half acre, as you know, it is 2000 square meter. So if the mangrove growth in one contiguous area, if it is 1000 square meter or above, that is equivalent to 25 cents in one contiguous area, then you need to have, the regulation says 50 meter as a buffer to protect that mangrove. That also is a no development zone. It is not alone the area where the mangrove is located, but there is a buffer of 50 meter around. So that is also a no development zone. As far as the heritage site or archaeological site is concerned, only it says there is no buffer, but you need to have, you cannot have demolition of that building or the kind of restructuring, all those things that requires a separate kind of guideline. There's a separate procedure. So this is, we only concentrate on archaeological, the mangroves. Then there is another feature which is troubling now all of us in Kerala, especially in Alappuzha, Ernakulam and Thrissur district. That is the Pokkali field. That the Pokkali cultivation, that is during the month of June, July, August, September, a kind of variety of rice that is called Pokkali, that is being cultivated. And in the dry months, they have the chemmin gatta, shrimp or aquaculture. So this rotational practice is called Pokkali, kind of an aquaculture, filtration pond. Different terminologies are there. So this feature also is depicted in the CEZMB as a no development zone. That is the area falling in this Pokkali. As per the revenue record, the government of Kerala Revenue Department, this Pokkali is a kind of a paddy field only. It is not a water body even. It is only a paddy field. But these people who have made this drawing included it as a CRZ 1A feature, that is an ecologically sensitive feature, and thereby we have got lot of limitation in construction. Earlier it was 50 meter around that feature also. Now at least that feature only, whatever be the area occupied by that paddy field, Pokkali field, is the only CRZ 1A area. But that is illegal. That classification is not there. So government also is now realized, and they are also trying to rectify that the wrong classification done for this Pokkali. Then, so that is the area under CRZ 1A. So your point of view, when you have the coastal zone management plan, when you have got a client to construct a building or a project, every local body has got this coastal zone management plan, or else it is available in the website of Kerala Coastal Zone Management Authority with your survey number and your village. What is a village? Then you see where is my project site is. Is it coming under the mangrove buffer? There is a clear legend given, because architect can easily identify whether it is coming under the buffer area of a mangrove. And then later, we will land up in trouble because it is a no development zone. No development zone means strictest meaning of no development. It is 99 no, 1% yes no. It is no development means you have to leave the land as it is. So that is with respect to CRZ 1A. Hope it is clear to you. Then the CRZ 1B, that I told you, CRZ 1 has got two divisions, 1A and 1B. What is 1B? In 1B, it is intertidal zone. നമ്മൾ ഈ കടപ്പുറം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനമാണ് ഈ പറയുന്ന ബീച്ച് അല്ലെ കടപ്പുറം. അതാണ് ഇന്റർടൈഡൽ സോൺ. There is a low tide and there is a high tide. That diurnal variation every day you people know. വേലിയേറ്റവും വേലിയിറക്കവും ഉള്ള ആ രണ്ട് പ്രദേശങ്ങളുടെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് വരുന്ന സ്ഥലമാണ് സോ കോൾഡ് ബീച്ചാണ് ഇന്റർടൈഡൽ സോൺ. So intertidal zone also there is absolutely no developmental activity. As some activities like for the port facility, unloading, loading, etc. Those kind of things. For an architect general point of view, most of the activities you people envisage, it is not permitted in the intertidal zone. However, in the CRZ notification 2019, certain activities leaving 10 meter only from the high tide line of the beach, certain shacks, kind of shower room, some tourism related activities are permitted. When I come to 2019, I will explain you what are the activities permitted, but by and large, this is under 1A and 1B. Now come to CRZ 2 and CRZ 3. CRZ 2 area is the geographical area falling within municipality and under municipal corporation. Suppose for Tripurithura municipality area, it is CRZ 2. Kochi corporation area, it is CRZ 3. Kollam, Trivandrum, Kozhikode, Kannur, all these corporation area geographically falling within the CRZ, it is CRZ 2. Now you may ask, what is the extent of CRZ regulations? The cardinal point for CRZ is the high tide line. Veliyeta rekha adani high tide line. For the high tide line, for the sea coast, it is easy to find out. എവിടം വരെയാണ് വെള്ളം വരുന്നത് നമുക്ക് അറിയാൻ പറ്റും. So in the sea coast high tide line, from there 500 meter is the coastal regulation zone. Regulation. Don't come mistaken with the no development zone. One is the regulation zone and one is the no development zone. These two are entirely different. So in the case of CRZ, for the sea coast, that is 600 kilometers along the coast, 500 meter from the high tide line is the regulation zone. And within regulation zone, certain area is the no development zone and certain area is the permissible zone. And beyond 500 meter is the regulation free zone. You can construct as per the local building bylaws, whatever you want beyond 500 meter. But in CRZ 2 area, suppose in sea frontage in Kozhikode beach, 500 meter, of course, is the regulation zone. But in that 500 meter, there is a relaxation. That is only for CRZ 2 area. So generally people get mistaken with the CRZ 3. CRZ 3, the regulation is, it is the area falling under the undeveloped area. That is as per the notification I say. Undeveloped area, that is not substantially developed. As I told you, Kerala, West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra, Gujarat, the law is same. So Orissa coast is not our Kerala coast. Orissa coast, there may be a hamlet or a village. Then 100 kilometers there is no man's land. Then there is another village. Our coast is not that kind of a coast. So there, the coast, they don't have the developmental facilities or the parameters like we have. What are the parameters? Electricity supply, roads, then the water supply, then drainage facility. So all the facilities like a municipal area, we have got it in Panchayat area also. But unfortunately, the Panchayat in Kerala are classified in CRZ 3. under CRZ notification, there is no word anywhere that it is written as Panchayat to be in CRZ 3, nowhere it is written. But the people who made the drawing, they classified it is in CRZ 3, considering it as equivalent to Gujarat coast or West Bengal coast, that thing saying that the entire coastal Panchayat in Kerala are undeveloped. So that is also a kind of a, the kind of the loophole in the mapping which is already been done. So thereby, this is the area under CRZ 3. Now, under CRZ 3 or CRZ 2, as I told you, along the sea coast from north to south, 500 meter regulation zone ആണ്. പക്ഷെ CRZ 3-ലും 2-ലും ഈ 500 മീറ്ററിൽ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. അതാണ് ഇനി ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു തരാൻ പോകുന്നത്. CRZ 1-ൻ്റെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, CRZ 1 ഏരിയ അത് CRZ 1 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് CRZ 2-നകത്തും വരാം. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, mangrove growth can be in Kochi Corporation area. Mangrove growth can be in Udayamperur Panchayat. So CRZ 1 feature or a kind of a archaeological site, അത് CRZ 2-ൽ വരുന്ന ഏരിയയിലും വരാം, CRZ 3-ലും വരാം. So that 1 എന്നുള്ളത് it is an ecologically sensitive feature. It can fall in 2 or in 3. That is absolutely to be made clear. Now 2-ലും 3-ലും നമുക്ക് ഏതൊക്കെ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് പെർമിസിബിൾ ആണ് and at what distance. As I told you, all it is high tide line is the cardinal point. From the high tide line, along the sea coast, I repeat, along the sea coast, 500 meter regulation. Then, if you are in CRZ 2 area, that is within the municipality or municipal corporation area, then if you have got a beach road, pre-1991 existing beach road, very close to your beach, you don't need to leave any space, you can construct up to that beach. Similarly, in CRZ 2 area, pre-1991 structures are there, authorized structures with a number. That is the corporation or municipality given you the number. Then that also will be considered as the developable line. Suppose if that structure is located, building is located 2 meters from the high tide line. In CRZ 2 area, you can construct up to that 2 meters. Now, all of you must understand one thing. It is generally people undertake or understand that only buildings are only is the authorized structure. The notification says it is authorized structure. Authorized structure can be an irrigation people constructed retaining wall. It is an authorized structure, or an electrical pole with a number from the KSEB. Every pole has got a number, but that also is an authorized structure, or a kind of a water tap for the public water distribution system. It is an authorized structure. So road, electrical pole, water tap, retaining wall, building, any of these things, notification does not say that it should be building. No, you can have any of these 5 or any other authorized structure in the seaward side, that is the beach side. You can construct up to that point in CRZ 2 area. Now there is a question comes in CRZ 2 area that these structures, if we have got the document prior to 91 is required or prior to what date. So one of the first difference I want to tell you between 1991 or 2011 and 2019 notification, please note, In 2019 notification, this is the biggest relief. It says no need for 1991 structure. You can have the cutoff date as 18th January 2019. It's a big relief. So the authorized existing structure, I repeat the word, in CRS 2 area, authorized existing structure in CRS 2 on 18/1/2019 or just before that. If you have got any of this feature, you can count that as the building line and you can construct. This is the first difference. Second difference is, I am only talking of CRS 2 area along the sea coast. I am not bringing inland water body, so that step by step I will clarify. CRS 2 along the sea coast, I told you up to what level you can construct. I told you you can have up to 18/1/2019, whatever be the structure you can construct. Earlier it was 1991, very difficult to trace out documents or the proof, and you people were suffering. Now that situation has changed. Now the second point, very important point is, in CRS 2 area, that is up to 500 meters, CRS 2 means up to 500 meters along the coast. The next troubling issue for all architects was the FSI FAR. That Kozhikode Corporation has got 1.33 FAR as of 1991. Kochi Corporation has got 1.33 in 1991. RAR 1.33 is the totally unaffordable, unviable FAR as of now. But the regulation was saying that it is to be followed as per 1991. Now the second difference in 2019 notification, you can have FSI FAR as on 18/1/2019 or the day you go for building plan approval. If it is 5 available, you take that 5. This is the second most important difference between the 2011 notification and in 2019 notification. For the CRS 2 area, you can have these two big relief. Now I will come to CRS 3 along the coast. That is, I am only talking along the coast. CRS 3 along the coast. Up to what level you can construct? Up to what point you can construct? As I told you, from the high tide line, 500 meters is the regulation zone, whether it is 2 or 3, no difference. Now in CRS 3, they have divided it into 2 categories, CRS 3A and CRS 3B. What is CRS 3A and what is CRS 3B? 3A means if the population density of that panchayat as per 2011 census of India, if it is 2161, 2161 or above, that you are in CRS 3A. If it is less than 2161, then you are in CRS 3B. So this is a big difference. Now 3A, 3B, what are the relaxations? That is what I am coming to. In 3A, you can have construction in this 500 meter up to 50 meter leaving from the sea high tide line. You can start construction from 50 meter, and then 50 to 500 meter, that is 450 meter, that is the span. You can have resorts, you can have buildings, not multi-story buildings, and you can have FSI up to 0.33. That is a kind of relaxation for the CRS 3A area. CRS 3B, CRS 3B. I will come to CRS 3A again. That is from the high tide line up to 50 meter is the no development zone, and 50 meter to 500 meter is the regulation zone. In CRZ 3B, that is population density less than 2161 persons per square kilometer, then your no development zone is from the high tide line, 200 meter is the high tide line, and 200 to 500, that is the 300 meter band is the developable zone, but still under regulation. So that 200 meter is now reduced to 50 meter in CRZ 3 area. In CRZ 3B area, 200 meter continues. So that is with respect to C coast for CRZ 2 and CRZ 3, and 3, 3A and 3B. Now comes to inland water bodies. That is the most troubling part for all architecture friends. Now, Kochi, that is Ernakulam district, has got only 46 kilometers as a sea frontage. Is the out of the 10 coastal districts of Kerala, from Kasaragod to Trivandrum, 9 coastal district has got water frontage with the sea. Only Kottayam has got Vembradu Karanam, കുറച്ച് സ്ഥലത്ത് sea frontage ഇല്ല. ബാക്കി all 9 district has got sea frontage. Kochi is having the lowest 46 kilometer only with the sea. But worst affected district is Ernakulam. 2000 kilometer inland water bodies, കായലും തോടും നദി അതും എല്ലാം വെച്ച് most affected. Water frontage, sea frontage ഏറ്റവും കുറവ്. So ഈ 2000 kilometer എന്ന് പറയുന്ന 1000 kilometerന്റെ രണ്ട് സൈഡും വരുമല്ലോ affected. That is why 2000 kilometer. So in CRZ 2 or in CRZ 3, I will repeat, in CRZ 2 area or in CRZ 3 area, the coastal regulation is the same. What is that? Earlier in 2011 notification, it says, if there is a kail and you have got a project site abutting the kail or inside, 100 meter from the STL or width of that kail or the creek or the water body, whichever is less, is the no development zone. That was the CRZ notification 2011. 100 meter from the STL or width of the creek, whichever is less. That was the regulation which as per 2011. Now it is reduced to 50 meter, 50, all along the inland water bodies. 50 meter or width of the creek or river or stream, whatever, whichever is less. If the width of the creek or the river is 40 meter and you are only regulated only 40 meter to be left. If it is 70 meter, then whichever is less, 50 meter only is to be left. Now in 2 and 3, what are the advantages or the differences? As I told you, 50 meter is the regulation zone. Like that 500 meter along the coast I told you is the regulation zone. Now in 2, CRZ 2, inland water body, വേമ്പനാട് കായലിനോട് ചേർന്ന്, എറണാകുളം കായലിനോട് ചേർന്ന്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആലുവ പുഴയോട് ചേർന്ന്, പെരിയാറിനോട് ചേർന്ന്, എന്താണ് 2-ല് കൊച്ചി കോർപ്പറേഷനുള്ള ഏരിയ, CRZ 2-ല് എന്താണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? കുമ്പളം പഞ്ചായത്തിലാണെങ്കിൽ കായൽ, CRZ 3-ലാണെങ്കിൽ ഇൻലൻഡ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡി ആണെങ്കിൽ എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? രണ്ടിടത്തും 50 meter regulation zone. Now 50 meterൽ in CRZ 2-ലാണെങ്കിൽ again the old one which I told you in CRZ 2, if there is a structure, authorized existing structure as on 18/1/2019 near the water body, വീട്, ഇലക്ട്രിക്കൽ പോസ്റ്റ്, റോഡ്, വാട്ടർ ടാപ്പ്, റീറ്റെയിനിങ് വാൾ, ഇതിൽ 5 എണ്ണം നമുക്ക് പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ ഇറിഗേഷൻ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റിൽ നിന്ന് പഴയ റെക്കോർഡ് എടുക്കണം. റീറ്റെയിനിങ് വാൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ യു ക്യാൻ കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് അപ് ടു ദാറ്റ് റീറ്റെയിനിങ് വാൾ, ഓതറൈസ്ഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ. If there is an electrical pole, if there is a water tap, all are authorized structure. That is in CRZ 2 area. For example, in Maradu municipality, there is Nettur Tod or a Nettur canal. നെട്ടൂർ കനാലിന്റെ വീതി ചില സ്ഥലത്തൊക്കെ 180 മീറ്റർ ഉണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ കരയിൽ നമുക്ക് 50 മീറ്റർ വിടണം മുനിസിപ്പാലിറ്റി ഏരിയ ആണെങ്കിലും, പ്രൊവൈഡഡ് ഇഫ് ദർ ഈസ് നോ ഓതറൈസ്ഡ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ നിയർ ദ വാട്ടർ ബോഡി ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ മാത്രം. നമുക്ക് റോഡോ വീടോ ടാപ്പോ ഇലക്ട്രിക്കൽ പോളോ റീറ്റെയിനിങ് പോളോ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ up to that point you can construct in CRZ 2 area. 50 meter കഴിയുമ്പോൾ you are regulation free area. Within 50 meter, if you don't have any structure at all, then you have to go beyond 50 meter for construction in CRZ 2. CRZ 3 area in Panchayat limit വരുന്ന CRZ 3 area width of the creek or 50 meter whichever is less, you have to leave this 50 meter as the no development zone, irrespective whether there is an authorized structure is there or not. You have to leave this 50 meter. ഇതാണ് CRZ 3 ഏരിയയിലും 2 ഏരിയയിലും ഇൻലൻഡ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡീസ്, കായലോ നദിയോ പുഴയോ സ്ട്രീമോ വിഡ്ത്ത് ഓഫ് ദ റിവർ. സോ 100 മീറ്റർ എന്നുള്ള റെഗുലേഷൻ റെഡ്യൂസ് ടു 50 മീറ്റർ ഇൻ CRZ 2 ഏരിയ. If there is a authorized structure abutting the water body, retaining wall എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ abutting the water body ആയിരിക്കുമല്ലോ, ആ authorized structure പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുകയാണ്. yes, 18/1/2019. I am not talking of 1991. Big relief. If you have to prove, then you can say is an authorized structure and you can construct from that point towards landward. You can construct. FAR FSI also I told you. FAR FSI as existing on 18/1/2019 or the prevalent one, you can have relaxed very conveniently. You can construct. These are the classifications versus different kinds of the setback distances which you have to follow. And then I will tell you the other difference between 2011 and 2019. 2011 notification, again coming back to the CRZ 1, that is mangrove area. In mangrove area, in CRZ 1 notification, the 2011 notification, whether the mangrove growth in private owned land or in government owned land, if it is 1000 square meter or above, 50 meter buffer വേണമായിരുന്നു 2011 notification. In 2019 notification, that is also a big relief, saying that if the mangrove is in private owned land, എൻ്റെ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയാണ്, അവിടെ 40 സെന്റിൽ 1000 സ്ക്വയർ മീറ്ററിൽ ഇത് 2000 സ്ക്വയർ മീറ്ററിലുണ്ട്, no need for a 50 meter buffer around. That is for the mangrove existing in a private owned land. Government ലാൻഡിലാണെങ്കിൽ മാത്രം ബഫർ മതി, പ്രൈവറ്റ് ലാൻഡിൽ വേണ്ട. This is another big relaxation. Now, in the third aspect for the architect point of view is in CRZ 1 area, that is some kind of temporary structure in gelling with the tourism. That is the kind of temporary pathways along the mangrove. Some structures are permitted. That is for the nature trail or walkways, etc., etc. So in CRZ 1A, it is not complete prohibition. Certain tourism related activities are permitted within CRZ 1A. Similarly, in beach also, in that I told you 10 meter from the high tide line landward. If the high tide line is there, 10 meter, as I told you, general is 50 meter and 200 meter, but certain activities you are permitted, like toilets, then changing rooms, shacks, etc., etc. For the tourism related, 10 meter from the high tide line is permitted along the sea coast also, though it is in the no development zone. As I told you, 50 meter concept or 200 meter concept, but along the coast, this is permitted. So this is the overall, about the classification and the kind of the prohibitions or the no developable or no developable area. Now, way forward, what you can do is like when the maps comes, now because the local bodies are also more vigilant. Now, I request, whether it is in the chapter main office or you can have these maps, available with all practicing architects, then identify with respect to your site, because color legends are given CRZ 2, CRZ 3, then 3A, 3B, so that it is easy to understand. Then lastly, my thing is on the backwater islands and the islands along the main coast. So islands along the main coast was not there in 2011. For example, Mada Amradananda Kollathulla Alappad Gram Panchayat. That is an island along the main sea coast. Kumbalam അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കുമ്പളങ്ങി ഇതുപോലത്തെയൊക്കെയുള്ള മുളവുകാട് ഇതുപോലത്തെയൊക്കെയുള്ള അല്ലെ മരട് ഇതുപോലത്തെയൊക്കെയുള്ള islands. It is another special category wherein from the high tide line, you only need to leave 20 meter, 20, from the high tide line. High tide line, inland water body സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം നിങ്ങൾ ഇത് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയാൽ മതി. വെള്ളവും കരയായിട്ട് ടച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന പോയിന്റാണ് ഈ ഹൈ ടൈഡ് ലൈൻ. ആ പോയിന്റിൽ നിന്നും 20 മീറ്റർ ഈ പറയുന്ന ഐലൻഡ്സ് എവിടൊക്കെയുണ്ടോ, ഒരു 1800 ഐലൻഡ്സോളം കേരളത്തിൽ ലൊക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ ഐലൻഡ്സിലെല്ലാം you need to leave only 20 meter as the no development zone. Whether you are in CRZ 2, suppose Maradu municipality 20 meter, പക്ഷെ 20 മീറ്ററിനകത്താണെങ്കിലും മുനിസിപ്പാലിറ്റിയുടെ ബെനിഫിറ്റും അവിടെ കിട്ടും. If there is an authorized structure which I told you is a retaining wall or an old, not old, kind of a old building, so as on 18.1, then you will get benefit up to, say, if it is located in 5 meters from the water body, you will get it in Maradu municipality area. But in Kumbalam, Kumbalangi or Mulavugad Panchayat area or Kanamakudi, so 20 meter you have to leave. Earlier it was 50 meter, reduced to 20 meter. So these are the classifications and the setback distances. So like lot of things I have conveyed you. So I don't know how many things it has gone into. So my time was up to 4:15. So this is the overall, in the shortest period I could, tell you. So if you have got more things, you can ask, and whatever is possible, I will. So once again, I thank you all for giving me the opportunity, and any doubt, anywhere, anytime, most of you can my number, otherwise you can note down 9350873385. I will repeat 9350873385. So I am basically from Jagannathepuri. Now presently, because of COVID in Delhi, I am settled in Delhi for the last 34 years. So presently I am at Tripunithura. So almost this is the 9th class I am doing for this pre-draft. So this pre-draft, I say, as a stakeholder, Institute of Architects also must write to the government, because like pre-draft, we have got a big opportunity. Reason, generally we only have the draft, then the final. So in the draft stage, whatever we say, we don't know how much they have incorporated, because the only final only we will see. Now we have got a pre-draft. You say what all things you want. At least when the draft comes, you will know, yes, certain things have incorporated and certain ignored, so that you can only press for those points. So this opportunity, in a brief way, I will share it with architect Joseph Chandy. What are the loopholes? Because the Kradai, Panchayat, Corporation, everybody is taking. But you can also, from another point of view, you can also represent. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful presentation. As we conclude this session, I invite architect Sri Parvati Uni as to moderate for the Q&A session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful session. We actually have a lot of questions coming in. So I guess maybe you can combine a few questions and maybe have common answers. So one of the questions from Mr. Tom John was he wanted to know about the CRZ violations in Trivandrum. And is there any similar sort of situations which happened in Murud flat demolition? As well as he was also asking about the inland water bodies currently destroying the Techno Park, and about the illegal rerouting of the Tettiar.
Yeah, with respect to the question number 1, the kind of violations happen. Now, there are, district level coastal zone management authorities. So the local bodies forward the application to that DLC, district level committee, to KCZMA. So, and buildings up to 300 square meter are being approved by the local level, district level itself. No need to be in the line of KCZMA. This is one. Now, with respect to construction already happened, there is a circular or an order by KCZMA on 18/3/2020. I will share with the architect Joseph Chandy that circular, so that you can also, that is construction residential buildings constructed as on 26/2/2020 that are being regularized. That is, if it should be in permissible zone, it's not in non-permissible zone. If it is in permissible zone, they say you can, we will regularize it. Construction already happened. That is the delay as a or a late application we will consider. No additional penalty or anything, they will regularize. Now, two things comes. Suppose if it is in non-permissible zone, what we should do? Second thing is, if the FAR, FSI, because the prevailing law is the FAR, FSI of 1991. So all those things are violations. The violations can be 3 types. Violation number 1, you are in the permissible zone, but prior clearance not taken. That is approved. That is violation number 1. Second category is, you are in permissible zone, but your permissible FAR was 2, you constructed 3. That is violation number 2. Number 3 is, you are in non-permissible zone. That is the 200 meter or 500 meter or 50 meter. I told you different areas, or there is no authorized structure. Then to say that I have come up to this level because of this authorized structure as of 1991. You have nothing to show. That is in the non-permissible area, or in Panchayat area also it can happen. People misunderstood with the facility in the corporation or the municipality area. So non-permissible land, it is a serious violation. That is the grade wise serious violation. Then within the permissible zone, if it is within the permissible FSI and FAR, but not taken the prior approval, because this is an approval to be taken prior construction starting before the start of construction, then you need to have that, you can have regularization. But for the multi-story buildings within the permissible zone, that is yet to, because that process we have, conveyed it to state government to do it. So hopefully within a couple of months, the new government may take a view. If the building is in multi-storied residential building within the permissible zone, and the FSI, FAR is within the permissible, then that also may. Individual residential buildings, 100% you can prove it, you can proceed for regularization. So this is the answer with respect to the violations. Secondly, with respect to Tettiar, rerouting and all those things, Tettiar, that Parvati Putnar or whatever, TS Canal, all those things, certain area coming under the CRZ, certain area passing through Techno Park, Phase 1, 3, etc., or Infosys campus, etc., those are not coming under the CRZ regulations. It is purely under the irrigation department. So whatever be the, the kind of the upstream flow the surface runoff, whether it is taken care by this rerouting or those things, the irrigation people, or you can represent it to the environment department. That is because any drain has to take the upstream flow, surface runoff. So if they are doing rerouting and if the upstream flow is not taken, then there is a likelihood of a flooding condition. So that has nothing to do with the CRZ. Now tell me, next question, please.
Yes, thank you, sir. Now, Ajit Menon was wondering, if a common man wants to buy a plot of land near any water body, where or whom should he contact to know if that plot is within CRZ zone or not?
See, for the common man, like now the proposal is for giving the plan, the hard copy of the plan to village office also. That was not there earlier. But in the local body, of course, panchayat, municipality, it will be available now onwards. And every ward member also will carry the map of his area. So it will be extensively now circulated. So he can approach the local body, ward member, village officer, like our cadastral map, revenue map. He can also will have the possession of this map, CRZ map, through Kerala Institute of Local Administration, KILA. Government is planning to have series of training programs for ward member, councillors, secretaries, etc., etc. So to create more awareness and to have people not landing up in trouble. Thank you, ma'am. Next.
Okay, next.
Hope it is
Another-
clear to you, because for the common man, otherwise, if he is having some kind of computer kind of thing, then KCZMA website he has to go, or the district coastal zone management authority, then downloading it, zooming it. But the kind of the transitional age people like me, we are having only hard copy to understand. The new gen people can understand it, but for me it is difficult unless I see the hard copy. I am not able to familiarize with my land. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Another question is about foreign countries and their rules, because in many countries, apparently buildings are projecting out into the ocean and sea. And what are the rules, or how do they cope up with the rules and regulations?
See, this is also a question forwarded by architect Joseph Chandy. See, we are only not in the developed world, we are in the developing, rather COVID proved we are in the third world country only. We are not even in a developing stage. In developed world, like, madam, the municipality is the whole soul for building rule, CRZ rules, forest rules, water permit. It is one single window. They don't want to go to KCZMA, water authority, electricity board. No, only single window. Why there is, I'll tell you, for example, Technopark land, smart city land, info park land. Why people are more, attracted towards this township or the areas? It is because of the single window approach. They have it. They only want to go to that single window clearance board. All approvals within the state, fire or whatever things are given. It's a kind of a similar approach that is followed in the developed world. So there, in the municipality, is the people who will see whether this land is in CRZ, whether it is in the forest or it is a paddy field. Everything. They have got different wings to verify. So that is the fundamental difference between our system and the system followed in other parts of the world, especially in developed country. That is, the municipality is the area where you are through. If you are allowed, you don't want to go into 10 offices. So then there is no comparison, madam. I cannot, tell you how they are doing. And this is the first step wherein the developer is safe from the municipal, that is permit when they get it. all permits are within it, whether it is CRZ permit, forest permit, Western Guard permit, inland river permission, any permission which is included in that building permit issued by the local body. One single answer. Hope clear to you.
Yeah.
Next, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now we have a question from Archana Vikas. There are some mangrove areas near Kanoli Canal in Calicut, but it is denoted as CRZ2 area in the KCZMA plan. So then is it a no development zone?
Now, this is one of the loophole in the CZMP plan. The CZMP plan, now government is going to have extensive, ground truthing of this plan is not there. What is ground truthing? I always quote the example of Maharaja's College ground. Maharaja's College ground, if there is a heavy rain and if there is water logging in that college ground, any third party sitting through and relying on a satellite image, he will simply say it is a water body because Kyle is nearby. Until and unless somebody come physically verify, ground truthing is done, it will be classified as a water body. That is the difference between physical verification and satellite image. Similarly for mangrove also. Mangrove, in the canopy, in the satellite image, you will get only canopy. For a tree, coconut tree, the ground coverage of that coconut tree may be only 1 square feet, but the canopy may be about 10 square feet. So until and unless somebody comes and see how much is the ground area it is taken, or else you see the satellite image, it will be 5 times the actual ground coverage. So the rules, Government of India rule says the mangrove area is to be really surveyed by chain link that the survey people do, and then only whether it is CRZ buffer area is required or not. Now that front from Calicut, Kanoli Canal, as I told you, CRZ one feature, that is whether it is mangrove or turtle nesting ground or the kind of thing, it can be in 2 or in 3. That feature can grow anywhere, mangrove. So in CRZ2 area, that is what she is telling, that mangrove growth shown, if it is 1000 square meter or above, if it is in a private land, no buffer required. If it is a government land, yes, there will be a 50-meter buffer around that.
Okay, thank you. And next we have a question about the FSI and the coverage. Can one avail the FSI and coverage of the entire plot when there is a partial no development zone in that plot?
Entire land. Suppose if you have got 1000 square meter land and you have got say 1050 into 40, 2000 square meter, and out of that 40 meters, suppose if 20 meter is gone, that is 1000 square meter. So then can we have the FIR for the entire? Yes, for the entire you can avail for the remaining permissible area.
Okay. Thank
Subject to your height restriction, road width, etc. That has nothing to do with the CRZ. If there is a rule, no? If the road width is there, then you can construct up to this. So that is separate. That is as per building local rules. But you can avail the entire FSI for the entire land.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Next question. The Kallai timber mill area has mangroves as well as abandoned buildings. It has both CRZ2 and CRZ1 regulation. So is development allowed there or not?
See, I told you the mangrove chedi kilakkunnathu the corporation area kilakam, panchayat area kilakam. So it has nothing to do with it. Chedi kilakkunna ipo tengu kilakkunna city യുടെ നടുക്കും കിളക്കാം പഞ്ചായത്തിലും കിളക്കാം. അതുപോലെ ഉള്ളൂ ഈ CRZ2 ഇതുള്ളത്. only thing is that CRZ mangrove ഉള്ള ഏരിയയിൽ നമുക്ക് ഡിസ്ട്രോയ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റിയല്ല. അതിൻ്റെ റിയൽ ഫിസിക്കൽ ചെയിൻ ലിങ്ക് നടത്തി ഏരിയ നോക്കുക. പ്രൈവറ്റ് ലാൻഡിലാണെങ്കിൽ ബഫർ വേണ്ട, പ്രൈവറ്റ് ലാൻഡിലല്ല ഗവൺമെന്റ് ലാൻഡിലാണെങ്കിലും നോക്കുക ആക്ച്വലായിട്ട് കണ്ടിന്യൂസ്. ഇപ്പം ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓഫ് മാൻഗ്രൂവ് സേ ഫോർ 25 mangroves in area, one area. And after a gap of 5 meters, there is another bunch of mangroves. That is not considered as contiguous. Contiguous means no gap, continuous. So then only if it's 1000 square meter or more, then 50-meter buffer is required.
Thank you. Now we have a question from Dr. Prateek Sudhakaran. Has the CRZ notifications considered the hugely undocumented impacts or prediction models of climate change induced coastal damages? And is there any studies published regarding this?
See, the global warming, then sea level rise, all those things under the sea, kind of protection or the overall scenario. There are studies published by Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, and those things under CRZ, these setback distances only are covered indirectly for coastal protection, but no other specific, factors are being considered. Now, how the practices are or the safeguards are being met. Suppose somebody has got a project in CRZ area. As I told you, you go for a pre-approval. That is before you start construction. So when you go for the authority, for a larger project I am telling, not for a small house or anything, for a, say, suppose if you are going for a resort or if you are going for a multi-story residential apartment. So the approving agency, while giving the approval, KCZMA, Kerala Coastal Zone Management Authority, or if it is a hotel, then they will prescribe you about 25 to 50 conditions that these conditions will be followed during your operation or the construction. That are the safeguards which will have the kind of impact mitigation measures.
Okay, thank you, sir. And another question is regarding the islands and the island in the middle of a river. Is there any minimum width which has to be met? And adding to that, as I'm a member of the faculty team of ASADI, Asian School of Architecture and Design in Silver Sand Island, I was also wondering if what are the impacts of the CRZ rules on the Silver Sand Island?
Silver Sand Island, personally, I know the immediate requirement for us, the Silver Sand Island is to have lot of areas retaining wall is damaged. Long back, there were retaining walls. Until and unless you don't have the retaining wall to be rebuilt, there will be lot of land which will be getting eroded day by day. Number one. Number two, the Silver Sand Island has got that, kind of unattended. Army welfare, yes, there is a site. Asadi College, there is one site. Then Shobha has got a site. Rest all are kind of a unattended plot. And that the retaining wall got damaged. The seed of this mangrove travels through water, and that water which is penetrated in has got lot of mangroves within this land of the unattended. So the only relief is within that mangrove, whether it is 1000 square meter or 10,000 square meter, it is much more than 10,000 square meter, but it is in the private owned land, no buffer is required. But if you don't have that retaining wall constructed, the rest of the whole land will be a mangrove forest, whether it is private or public. You cannot have any construction done because mangrove destruction is a criminal offense. So immediately retaining wall is to be constructed. I know personally the land.
Okay, thank you, sir. And we have another question, which is the office to be to approach for pre-approval of the CRZ rules?
Every district has got a district coastal zone management authority in the collectorate, district collectorate, and that is the office you have to approach for the prior approval, and then they will take your approval. That is, any approval has to go through your local body, panchayat or municipality, and then they will forward it to the concerned district collectorate, and then they will forward it to Trivandrum, KCZM. But your reporting is up to district level committee.
Another question is about your personal consultancies. How many CRZ consultations have you done so far?
Myself,
Yes.
I have carried out maybe anything like, it's only general, it has nothing to do with our class, no topic. Question should be
Yes.
towards the topic of, perspectives,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes. This another question.
I have got wide experience, not alone for Kerala coast, for the entire coastal state in the country. That is the answer for that. May it be Goa, may it be Gujarat, may it be West Bengal, Orissa, Andhra.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And we are getting a lot more questions. So maybe we can have an interactive session now whereby the participants can ask them themselves. I hope that is okay with you, sir.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So if anyone would like to interact with sir, you can unmute yourself and ask.
But I find there are about 60 chat, messages. It's a written message or?
Yes.
There are a lot of questions that have come in. So what we are thinking is we'll probably send you a mail, and maybe as time permits, you can probably reply to it and we can send it over.
Whatever is within the time slot, you can, because this is a topic, I'll tell you for, all architects friends. See the basic, flow of this or the flow of this notification. See that, we can't do anything, just to share a kind of to lighter moment. As I told you, for the CRZ, the cardinal point is the STL, high tide line. Whether it is sea coast or it is mainland or the inland water body. Okay, for the inland water body, we, as I told you, Karayum Vellom Kuda Thattunna Sthalamana STL ennu parayam. See, STL is an imaginary line. This imaginary line വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് ഈ നിയമം മുഴുവൻ. ഇത് എങ്ങനെ നിയമം പറ്റും? ഇമാജിനറി ലൈൻ ഞാൻ കാണുന്ന പോലെ ആയിരിക്കില്ല ആർക്കിടെക്ട് പാർവതി കാണുന്നത്. ആർക്കിടെക്ട് പാർവതി ഇമാജിനറി ലൈൻ കാണുന്ന പോലെ ആയിരിക്കില്ല ആർക്കിടെക്ട് KC ജോർജ് കാണുന്നത്. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് സെൽഫ് ഈസ് എ ടോട്ടൽ സബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് തിങ്. ഈ ഇമാജിനറി ലൈൻ കൺസെപ്റ്റ് കാര്യം അവിടെ ഒന്നും വരച്ചിട്ടിട്ടും മതിൽ കെട്ടിയിട്ടും ഒന്നും ഇല്ല ഈ ഇമാജിനറി ലൈൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കാര്യം. സോ all setback distances I told you, 50, 20, 100, 500, everything is from this 500 with this HTL imaginary line, and that imaginary line itself is a kind of a subjective thing for interpretation. So other than this flow aanu what to do.
I have a question that is I'm Gopakumar.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Even in the city CRS 2 areas, there are small canals emerging from the main lake. Some of them are even gutter-like. The CRS controls are taken from that line also. That is included in the plans.
Sir, thank you, sir, for attending the session.
Okay.
Yes, because I deal with Anuj only. I have never, come across you to deal with. Yes.
Hello.
Sir, ഇത് ഈ പറയുന്ന മാപ്പിങ്ങിനകത്തുള്ള വേറൊരു ഫ്ലോയാ. ഇവര് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ എറണാകുളം ജില്ലയില് 2000 കിലോമീറ്റർ, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ബോത്ത് സൈഡ് 1000 കിലോമീറ്റർ ആണ് ഇൻലൻഡ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡി. സാറേ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഗട്ടറും തോടും അതും ഇതും എല്ലാം വെച്ചിട്ട് എറണാകുളം ജില്ലയിൽ സലൈനിറ്റി 5 സ്ഥലത്ത് എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഓൺലി 5 പ്ലേസസ്. ഈ 5 സ്ഥലത്തിൽ നിന്ന് എടുത്ത ബാക്കി ഗസ് വർക്കിലാണ് കാക്കനാട് വരെ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പൊ കാക്കനാട് വാഴക്കാല വരെയായിപ്പോ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് മൂന്നാർ വരെ കൊണ്ടുപോകാന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ CRZ-കാരുടെ എയിം. സ്ലോലി ഞങ്ങൾ ആക്കും. അപ്പൊ നമ്മളത് ഗവൺമെന്റിനോട് സ്ട്രോങ് ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവായിട്ട് സലൈനിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. അവിടെ ഇവിടെയും റാൻഡം പോരാ. അതിനൊക്കെയാണ് ഞാൻ ഈ ഒരു ലെറ്റർ ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ആർക്കിടെക്ട് ജോസഫ് ചാണ്ടി കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. നമുക്കെല്ലാം ഗവൺമെന്റുമായിട്ട് കൊളാബറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. ലോക്കൽ ബോഡീസിനോടും പറഞ്ഞു എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ്ലി എവരി 50 മീറ്റർ അല്ലെ എവരി 20 മീറ്ററിൽ ഒരു സാമ്പിൾ എടുക്കട്ടെ. സലൈനിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. സലൈനിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് കൊണ്ട് മാത്രമേ ഐ വിൽ ടേക്ക് എ മിനിറ്റ് സർ, 1 minute. പെട്ടെന്ന് വാ, ചാർജ് കാണിക്കുന്നില്ല. So thereby the salinity is a very serious issue. So government is going to do extensive sampling. So wherein ഇതിനകത്ത് ഞാൻ സാറിനോട് വേറൊരു കാര്യം പറയാം. ഇതിന് ഈ പറയുന്ന സലൈനിറ്റിയുടെ വേറൊരു ബയോളജിക്കൽ ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റർ ഉണ്ട്. എവിടെങ്കിലും നമ്മുടെ ഈ ആഫ്രിക്കൻ പോള, ഈ ഹയാസിന്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സാധനം, വേനൽക്കാലത്ത് ഹയാസിന്ത് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ സലൈനിറ്റി 100% ലെസ് ദാൻ 5 ppt ആയിരിക്കും. എബവ് 5 pt ആണെങ്കിൽ അതൊരു ബയോളജിക്കൽ ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്ററാ. എബവ് 5 pt ഈ ആഫ്രിക്കൻ പോള ചീഞ്ഞു പോകും. മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ? അതുകൊണ്ട് അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള പല പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ട് ടു ഡിറ്റർമിൻ വെദർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ലെസ് ദാൻ 5 ഓർ എബവ് 5. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഗവൺമെന്റിനോട് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, നമ്മൾ വി ഓൾ ഷുഡ് റെപ്രസെന്റ് ടു ദ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ദാറ്റ് ഒരാൾക്ക് ഒരു 5 സെന്റ് സ്ഥലം, അവന്റെ സ്ഥലം ഈ പറയുന്ന പോലെ സലൈനിറ്റി അപ്പുറം ഇപ്പുറം മാറും. അതുകൊണ്ട് എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് സലൈനിറ്റി ടെസ്റ്റ് ദേ ഹാവ് ടു ഡു ഇറ്റ്. അപ്പം ഒത്തിരി സ്ഥലങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് മാറ്റാൻ പറ്റും. മോർ ഓവർ ഞാൻ സാറിനോട് ഒരു കാര്യം കൊണ്ട്, ലോക്കൽ ബോഡി MLA-യോടൊക്കെ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്, നിങ്ങൾ ഇടയ്ക്കൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് എക്സാമ്പിൾ പറഞ്ഞുതരാം. പൂത്തോട്ടയെന്ന് കാഞ്ഞിരമറ്റത്തിന് പോകുന്ന വഴിക്ക് അവിടെ ഒരു ആമ്പല്ലൂര് മുറിഞ്ഞപുഴ കയറുന്ന ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു പാലമുണ്ട്, പൂത്തോട്ടയ്ക്കും കാഞ്ഞിരമറ്റത്തിനും ഇടയ്ക്ക്. അവിടെ നമുക്ക് കാണാം, എല്ലാ മഴയാവുമ്പോഴും അവിടെ ആ പാലത്തിന്റെ അവിടം വരെ ഉള്ളൂ. വേമ്പനാട് കായലിൽ നിന്ന് വരുന്ന CRZ. അവിടെ മണ്ണിട്ടൊരു ബണ്ട് കിട്ടും, അവിടം വരെ ഉള്ളു CRZ. മഴയാകുമ്പോൾ ആ ബണ്ട് പൊട്ടിക്കും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അപ്പുറത്ത് അപ്സ്ട്രീമിൽ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇതുപോലെ സ്ട്രക്ചറുകൾ നമുക്ക് കെട്ടാം. എവിടെല്ലാം കെട്ടാവോ അവിടെയൊക്കെ ലോക്കൽ ബോഡി അല്ലെ ലോക്കൽ MLA കെട്ടണം. കേരളത്തിന് CRZ രക്ഷപ്പെടുത്തണം. അങ്ങനെ നമുക്ക് ഇനിയിപ്പോ 5 ppt ഉള്ള സ്ഥലത്തായാലും ഈ സലൈനിറ്റി ഇൻക്രീസ് നമുക്ക് കുറയ്ക്കാൻ പറ്റും. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് അലോൺ ഫോർ CRZ. സാറേ ഞാൻ പറയാം, നമ്മുടെ ഫ്രഷ് വാട്ടർ ബോഡിയാണ് നശിച്ചു പോകുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് അലോൺ CRZ ഇത് രക്ഷപ്പെടാൻ വേണ്ടിയല്ല. ഈ വാട്ടർ ബോഡി കൊണ്ടാണ് പല ഇറിഗേഷനും അഗ്രികൾച്ചറും നടക്കുന്നത്. ഈ ഉപ്പുവെള്ളം ഇങ്ങനെ കയറി ആ അഗ്രികൾച്ചർ തീർന്നു പോവുക. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതിനൊരു ബണ്ട്, ഒരു സ്ലൂയിസ്, എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു തടയിണ കെട്ടേണ്ടത് മസ്റ്റാണ്.
ഹലോ, എന്റെ പേര് സഞ്ജീവ് എന്നാണ് സർ. ഞാൻ തിരുവനന്തപുരത്ത് നിന്നാണ്. സാർ, ഞാൻ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞ 2 സ്ഥലം നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു, ടർട്ടിലിന്റെ ഡെസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഇതുള്ള സ്ഥലമല്ലാതെ.
കേട്ടില്ല എന്തോ
നേരത്തെ സാറ് പറഞ്ഞു ഈ മറ്റേ ഈ ടർട്ടിൽ ബ്രീഡിംഗ് സെന്റർ അല്ലാത്ത സ്ഥലങ്ങളും എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ? അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ അത്യാവശ്യം ഞാൻ ആക്കുളം ലേക്കിന്റെ കൺസർവേഷനുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്ന ഒരാളാണ്. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ ഡോക്യുമെന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന കാലം മുതൽ തന്നെ ആ പ്രദേശത്തൊക്കെ ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ ഈ സാധനങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ലിവിംഗ് ബീയിങ്സുകൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. കഴിഞ്ഞ ഒരു 7-8 വർഷമായിട്ട് പല ബ്രീഡ്സുകളും ഈ പൊല്യൂഷൻ കാരണം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു പോയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അതിനൊപ്പം തന്നെ ഇപ്പൊ ഈ പ്രദേശത്തെല്ലാം എന്താ സംഭവിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഈ പാലവും മറ്റൊക്കെ വന്നപ്പോൾ കെട്ടിയപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് ഈ ബണ്ടിങ് കെട്ടി ഇപ്പൊ സലൈനിറ്റിയുടെ ആ കണ്ടിന്റെ ഇപ്പൊ സെസ്സിൽ ചോദിച്ചപ്പോൾ തന്നെ അവർക്ക് ആ ഒരു തടസ്സം കൊണ്ട് സലൈനിറ്റിയുടെ കുറവ് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ ഇതെല്ലാം മാൻമെയ്ഡ് ഒബ്സ്ട്രക്ഷൻസുകൾ കൊണ്ടാണ് ഇത് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പം ഈവൻ ലുലുമാട് മോളിൽ തന്നെ സാർ ഇപ്പൊ തൊട്ട് മുമ്പേയുള്ള കോൺവെർസേഷനിൽ പറഞ്ഞു വാട്ടർ ബോഡി പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന്റെ കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞു. പക്ഷെ ഈ വാട്ടറിൽ കയറി കിടന്നിരുന്ന പല പ്രദേശങ്ങളിൽ തന്നെ ഈ പറയുന്ന കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസുകൾ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പൊ ലുലു മാളിൽ തന്നെ അവിടെ ഞാൻ ആ ഡോക്യുമെന്റേഷൻ ചെയ്യപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് എനിക്കറിയാം, ഏകദേശം ഈ പുഴയ്ക്ക് അകത്തോട്ട് ഇറക്കി വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് അവിടെ കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ 14.2 മീറ്റർ പുഴയ്ക്കകത്തോട്ട് ഇറങ്ങി വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് അത്രയും കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. 586 മീറ്റർ പുഴയ്ക്കകത്തോട്ടാണ് വയ്ക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ അവിടെ CRZ ഉള്ള സ്ഥലമാണ്. അവിടെ ബൗണ്ടറി കെട്ടിയിരിക്കുന്നത് ഇൻലാൻഡുകാരല്ലാന്ന് എനിക്ക് എഴുതി തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഇത്രയും സാധനങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നിട്ടും വീണ്ടും വീണ്ടും അതേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ തന്നെ ചെയ്യുന്നു. അപ്പൊ സാറ് ഫെബ്രുവരിയിൽ അവിടെ അവിടെ കളക്ടറുമായിട്ട് ഉള്ള ദിവസവും ഞാൻ അന്ന് അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഞാൻ ഈ പറയുന്ന സാധനങ്ങളെല്ലാം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നിട്ട് നമ്മൾ നിയമങ്ങൾ പരിരക്ഷിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഏർപ്പാടും വരുന്നില്ലല്ലോ സാർ. ഇപ്പൊ സാറ് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോഴും CRZ എല്ലാ പ്രോബ്ലംസ് മാത്രമല്ലേ പറയുന്നുള്ളൂ. CRZ എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയാണ് ആ നിയമം കൊണ്ടുവന്നതെന്ന് സാറൊന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കൊള്ളായിരുന്നു.
കൺസർവേഷൻ പാർട്ടിൻ്റെത് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഒന്നുള്ളത് ഇപ്പം ഒരു 5 o'clock നമുക്ക് വൈൻഡ് അപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനല്ലേ ആർക്കിടെക്ട് ജോസഫ് ചാണ്ടി ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്?
ആൻസർ ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ കൊള്ളായിരുന്നു.
എന്തോ
ഈ പറഞ്ഞതിന് ആ ഒരു ആൻസർ പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് വൈൻഡ് അപ്പ് ചെയ്താൽ കൊള്ളായിരുന്നു.
അല്ല, ഞാൻ ആൻസർ തരാൻ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത് ഈ കൺസർവേഷൻ പാർട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഈ വാട്ടർ ബോഡീസിന്റെ പൊല്യൂഷൻ. ഇപ്പൊ ആക്കുളം ലേക്കിന്റെ തന്നെ ടൂറിസം ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റും ലോക്കൽ ബോഡിയും ഇൻലൻഡ് നാവിഗേഷനും എല്ലാം കൂടെ ഒരു ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റഡ് റിജുവിനേഷൻ സ്കീം തയ്യാറാക്കി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ആക്കുളം ലേക്കും അതിന്റെ വാട്ടർ ഷെഡും എല്ലാം കൂടെ. ദർ ആർ മൾട്ടിപ്പിൾ റീസൺസ് ഫോർ ദി പൊല്യൂഷൻ ഓഫ് ദി വാട്ടർ ബോഡീസ്. പിന്നെ ഈ ഒരു ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ പ്രോജക്റ്റിനെ പറ്റി ഞാൻ കമന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, കാര്യം ഇതൊരു ലാർജർ ഫോറം ആയതുകൊണ്ട് I cannot discuss for a particular project. That is not ethical for me. ഇല്ലേ ഗോകുമാർ സാറേ?
അല്ല സാർ, ഞാൻ ലുലു മാൾ ചോദിക്കുന്നില്ല സാർ. ഞാൻ പറയുന്ന CRZ സോണിന്റെ അകത്ത് വരുന്ന ഈ പറയുന്ന പാർവതിപുത്രന്റെ 14.2 acre എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഗവൺമെന്റ് ലാൻഡ് ആണ്. ഞാൻ ഗവൺമെന്റ് ലാൻഡിനെ കുറിച്ച്
അല്ല, ഞാനതാ പറഞ്ഞത്. പർട്ടിക്കുലർ പ്രോജക്ട് വെദർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എൻക്രോച്ച്ഡ് നോട്ട് എൻക്രോച്ച്ഡ് ഓൾ ദോസ് തിങ്സ് I don't want to comment in this public forum. I hope you agree.
Okay, right.
Okay, sir.
ഈ 1:4,000 പ്ലാൻ ഇറക്കണം എന്നാണല്ലോ, ആ പ്ലാൻ ഇല്ലല്ലോ. സ്കെയില് 1:4,000.
അതെ, ഇതാണ് അടുത്ത ഒരു ഇത്. 2011 CRZ നോട്ടിഫിക്കേഷനിൽ ഇപ്പം നമുക്ക് അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള മാപ്പ് 1:25,000 മാക്രോ ലെവലിലുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. ലോക്കൽ ബോഡികൾക്ക് തന്നെ വേണ്ട 1:4,000 മാപ്പ് 2011 തൊട്ടുള്ള പെൻഡിങ്ങാ. അതാ ലോക്കൽ ബോഡി തന്നെയായിട്ടാണെങ്കിൽ, കാര്യം എറണാകുളം മുഴുവനുള്ള മാപ്പിൽ തരുന്നതിനകത്തുനിന്ന് നമ്മുടെ ലാൻഡ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ 785 സർവേ നമ്പർ, അത് ഉദയംപേരിലും കാണാം, കടമക്കുടിയിലും കാണും, മുളവുകാടിലും കാണും. സോ ഇഫ് ഉദയംപേരൂരിന്റെ തന്നെയായിട്ട് 1:4,000 ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഈസി. ഇതെല്ലാം ഈ വയലേഷൻസിന്റെ റീസൺസ് ആണ് ഇതെല്ലാം. അതുകൊണ്ട് 1:4,000 മാപ്പ് ഇപ്രാവശ്യം അവൈലബിൾ ആയിരിക്കും.
എന്റെ പേര് റെനോൾഡ് നെറ്റോ എന്നാണ്. ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കാവോ? Can I ask a question, please?
ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ടോപ്പിക്കിനെ റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്താണെങ്കിൽ ചോദിച്ചോ.
Topic റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തതാണ്. I just wanted to ask, why CRZ zone is needed in India? Whether it is to protect the nature or whether it is to destroy nature. These are my questions.
Question is to Government of India, not for me. I am also an individual.
No, I just asked you because you've been discussing about CRZ zone. So I just asked you, what is the need of CRZ zone in India? Whether it is to protect the nature.
Primarily, Mr. Reynolds, the Architect Forum, for their practicing part, they were facing problems in understanding whether what are these classifications, what are their setback rules. So what are the permissible, because lot of architects also facing problems. So my topic of discussion is only limited to that particular aspect. We can have wide range of discussion on this. Architect Joseph Chandy or somebody can, because otherwise there will not be any end.
കാര്യം ഞാൻ ഈ ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കാൻ കാര്യം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, there are lots of buildings being constructed and later there's orders from the Supreme Court or from the orders by the High Court. ഒരുപാട് ബിൽഡിങ്സ് കെട്ടിയത് പൊളിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഇനിയും പൊളിക്കാനായിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് കെട്ടിടങ്ങൾ കെട്ടുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ആസ് ആൻ ആർക്കിടെക്ചറൽ ഡിസ്കഷനിൽ ഈ പറയുന്ന CRZ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അത് ഈ പറയുന്ന കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ നടത്തുന്ന അതാത് ലൊക്കേഷൻ പറയുന്ന സ്പെസിഫിക്കേഷൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിട്ടാണോ ആൾക്കാർ കെട്ടിടം കെട്ടുന്നത്, അതോ അവർക്ക് ബോധിക്കുന്ന കണക്ക് CRZ സോണോ മറ്റു കാര്യങ്ങളോ ഒന്നുമില്ല. They manipulate documents and they construct a building. Later when the court case comes, ഇത് ഡിമോളിഷ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ആ പറയുന്ന പരിസ്ഥിതി അവിടെ എത്രത്തോളം എഫക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നു? ഒരു നിർമ്മാണം നടത്തുന്നത്, യു ആർ ഓൾ ടോക്കിംഗ് അബൌട്ട് കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ആർക്കിടെക്ചേഴ്സ്. അപ്പോ ഈ പറയുന്ന പ്രകൃതിയെ സംരക്ഷിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണോ ഈ പറയുന്ന പ്രക്രിയകൾ സർക്കാർ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത്, അതോ മനുഷ്യരെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിക്കാനും ഉപദ്രവിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണോ എന്നുള്ളൊരു കാര്യം. യു ഹവ് ബീൻ ടോക്കിംഗ് അബൌട്ട് CRZ 1, 2, 3 എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരുപാട് ഇത് തന്നെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പല പല കമ്മിറ്റികൾ, അതായത് സ്വാമിനാഥൻ കമ്മിറ്റി 2005, 2004 സ്വാമിനാഥൻ കമ്മിറ്റി കൊണ്ടുവന്നു. അതിൽ CRZനെ ഒരുപാട് കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് ഡിഫൈൻ ചെയ്തു. What is the use for this? That is my question. As an architect.
No, it is. I just want to interrupt in the sense, probably it's a valid question, but then in this forum, we'll probably not be able to answer everything. In the sense, there is a limit to how much we can. We have to limit the topic to what we are now discussing. See, we'll have to have another forum for this, where we can discuss environmental laws and how the court rulings have come. All these things or have to be discussed in another forum. ഈ ഫോറത്തിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ
I'm sorry friend. ഞാൻ അതല്ല, ആർക്കിടെക്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഗ്രൂപ്പിനകത്ത് ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്ന നിങ്ങൾ നിർമ്മിക്കുന്നു, നിങ്ങൾ കെട്ടിടങ്ങൾ കെട്ടുന്നു, CRS സോൺ ആണോ മറ്റു സോണോ ആണോ എന്ന് പലയിടത്തും എന്താ പറഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ പല ചലഞ്ചുകളും നടക്കുകയാണ്. So you are constructing a building inside the CRS zone by the proportion given by the government. എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ ഒരു സ്റ്റേജിൽ വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അത് പൊളിച്ചു കളയുകയാണ്. അപ്പം ആർക്കിടെക്ട് ഒരു സ്പെസിഫിക്കേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലത്ത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിർമ്മിക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നിടത്തല്ലേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിർമ്മിക്കാൻ പറ്റൂ, പറ്റാത്തടത്ത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിർമ്മിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതാണ് ഈ CRS സോൺ ആണല്ലോ ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
See the trouble, I don't know whether architect Netto has seen the 1996 coastal zone management plan.
ഞാൻ architect അല്ല, I'm not an architect, I'm a human rights activist and an environmentalist.
So the 1996 in the CEZ MP, even for an expert, unable to decipher where the land is, ഒരാളും born criminal ആയിട്ടോ violator ആയിട്ടോ ജനിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഈ പ്ലാന്റ് ഫുൾ ഓഫ് എറർ, ഫുൾ ഓഫ് ഡിഫക്റ്റ് കൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ സോ മച്ച് ഓഫ് കാഷ്വാലിറ്റീസ് ടുക്ക് പ്ലേസ്. ഈ 2019 എവിടാണ് പെർമിസിബിൾ എവിടാണ് നോൺ പെർമിസിബിൾ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ക്ലാരിറ്റി വന്നത്. 23 years ഹാപ്പൻ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ്സ്. ഇതിന്റെ ഒരു ഓൺസ്ലോട്ടിൽ വന്നതാണിത്. ക്വിക്ലി ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വാട്ട് ഐ വാണ്ട് ടു സേ.
Okay.
Chandi, can I ask one question, Chandi?
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Sir, പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ 5 authorized structures ചെയ്താൽ അതിന്റെ ബാക്കിലോട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ബിൽഡിംഗ് കെട്ടാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. അത് നമ്മുടെ പ്ലോട്ട് തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കണോ? It can be the next compound also.
See that part, the notification says landward side of the authorized structure in CRS 2. അത് മാത്രമേ പറയുന്നുള്ളൂ. ബട്ട് പീപ്പിൾ അഗെയിൻ ആസ് ഐ ടോൾഡ് യു, STL-നകത്തുള്ള ഈ സബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് ഇന്റർപ്രിട്ടേഷൻ പോലെ ഇതിനകത്തും ഓതറൈസ് സ്ട്രക്ചർ ഓൺ യുവർ റൈറ്റ് സൈഡ് ഓഫ് യുവർ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി, ലെഫ്റ്റ് സൈഡ് യുവർ പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി, ദെൻ യു ഷുഡ് ഹാവ് എ പാരലൽ ലൈൻ ടു ദി STL. Lot of things are happening, but slowly, the people who are also, that is the decision maker also, are understanding, because the kind of environmentalism we follow in Kerala specifically, not comparison with other states, we are a little overactive. Like, I don't say that we have to break everything and we have to violate everything, but we have got lot of land constraint we have got in our state. Eastern side we have the Western Ghats, then 600 kilometers south coast we have in the western side. So lot of inland water bodies, 44 rivers, so lot of limitations. So within the permissible zone, within the kind of thing, so government also is considering that how we can accommodate, not stretching it too far, that a kind of a people friendly approach. But in the beginning, to all of you, that I want to tell you, see, my approach is not against environmental protection. My approach is not against the CRS or the coastal protection. Within the permissible zone and within the corners of the law, what are the kind of things which an architect must understand? This is my only objective.
Yes, sir. So I think we are reaching
that rule. Actually, it is people friendly. Even I felt it is good. That is what. But just to understand, if in my property I don't have an electrical post, but in the next property there is an electrical post, then can I build along up to that line?
Yes, you can build.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Thomas C. ഞാനൊരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എന്നുള്ളതിൽ ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു സജഷൻ പറയാനാട്ടോ. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ നമ്മൾ ആ CRS സാലിനിറ്റി അളന്നിട്ടാണെന്ന്. അതിന് സോൾട്ട് ഇൻഗ്രേഷൻ ഉള്ള ഏരിയകളെ ഐസൊലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ ടെമ്പററി ബണ്ടുകൾ, ഐ വാസ് ഫ്രം ഇറിഗേഷൻ ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റ്. ഒരുപാട് തൃശ്ശൂർ കോൾലാൻഡ്സ് 15,000 ഹെക്ടർ ഉള്ള കോൾലാൻഡ്സ് പല സ്ഥലത്തും നമ്മൾ മാനേജ് ചെയ്തിരുന്ന ഈ സോൾട്ട് ഇൻഗ്രഷൻ തടയുന്നതിനുള്ള ഒരുപാട് ടെമ്പററി ബണ്ടുകൾ ഇട്ടിട്ടാണ്. കേരളത്തിലെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം ബിൽഡബിൾ ഏരിയ ഒരുപാട് നിയമങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ ബിൽഡബിൾ ഏരിയ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു സാധനം ഇല്ല ഇപ്പോ. അപ്പൊ ദ ബെറ്റർ, ഞാൻ ഒരു സജഷൻ ആണ്, ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പ്രീ ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് പീരീഡ് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ഈ സോൾട്ട് തടയുന്നതിനുള്ള ടെമ്പററി ബണ്ടുകളുടെ വളരെ എക്സ്റ്റെൻസീവ് ആയിട്ട് ഇട്ടാൽ നമ്മുടെ ഒരുപാട് സ്ഥലങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഒഴിവാക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നതാണ്. ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി പ്രീ ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് പീരീഡിൽ ഇതും കൂടി ഒന്ന് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്താൽ നന്നായിരിക്കും. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ പ്രൂവൺ ഏരിയ.
So it's an excellent suggestion. I just want to come in. I think we are reaching the end of the session because we've got a limitation of time. 5 o'clock എന്നുള്ള ടൈം ആയിരുന്നു സാറിനോട് ഞങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നത്. I just want to get into going ahead with the vote of thanks. First of all, Thomas സാറിനോട് a great session that we had. Thank you so much. It was very crisp presentation. Your knowledge on the CRZ rule is wholesome. And I think it is the first time that we are getting clear-cut answers for questions. പലപ്പോഴും ഈ CRZ-നെ പറ്റി ചോദിക്കുമ്പം ഒരു unclear answers ആണ്. So it was refreshing to have very clear answers coming in. Definitely, we have to thank IAA Cochin Center Executive Committee for actually organizing this, and to all the members across Kerala from IAA and others for actually attending and participating and making the session meaningful. Also, I want to thank Sri Parvati and her team for actually coordinating everything and taking care of the technical side. The whole session is being recorded, and we'll probably try and put it up in YouTube, upload it in YouTube. So if anybody wants to see further, and then if they want to ask questions, they can probably direct it here. Sir has already given his number also. So thank you all for actually participating. Thank you, sir, definitely for coming in and giving in your valuable suggestions. Thank you.
And lastly, whether it is Asadi or Architect Tony's Architectural College or Architect Mahesh Sir College, any of the faculty or the college people want for their future generation architects kind of a brief session also, I can volunteer so that they are the people to take it forward. We all have reached our kind of a fag end of our life. So that the younger people also, I am ready to give my kind of thoughts, which I am offering you.
Excellent, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah. Paru, can you close the meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.